It's the final day of 1944. New Year's Eve. But there's no celebration for a group of courageous young airmen. They are part of a squadron of 37 bombers undertaking a perilous assignment, striking oil refineries near Hamburg. The mission is done, but the ordeal is far from over as the surviving aircraft navigate a gauntlet of intense anti-aircraft fire for over an hour. The darkness is so complete that the sky is invisible. At the controls of a B-17G, christened the Little Skipper, is Lieutenant Glenn Rojohn. He and his team are in a fierce struggle, desperately seeking a path through the storm of flak, twisting and turning to evade the deadly bursts erupting all around them and their fellow airmen. At last, the surviving bombers break free from the anti-aircraft barrage as they reach the North Sea. The relief is palpable, but the respite is short-lived. Now flying in a straight line, the squadron attempts to reform its defensive posture, with every crew member scanning the skies for enemy aircraft. A punishing headwind slows their progress significantly. Suddenly, the alarm is sounded. At 22,000 feet, the B-17s are ambushed. A furious air battle erupts as waves of German main 109 fighters swarm and strafe the American formations. Maintaining a tight formation offers the best chance of survival, but the enemy fighters are relentless, and B-17s are falling from the sky.
Bandits, 3 o'clock.
We're taking fire. Hold formation.
Adhering to a close formation is crucial for defense, but the enemy fighters show no mercy, and the situation worsens. The German main 109s press their attacks so aggressively that Rojohn and his crew can discern the faces of the enemy pilots. Though renowned for their durability, the B-17s can only endure so much damage. With numerous aircraft plummeting, the Lucky Lassie assumes the role of lead plane, prompting the remaining bombers to consolidate into a tight defensive circle around it. Suddenly, a blinding flash. Rojohn witnesses the horrifying spectacle of the plane ahead being critically struck, spiraling out of formation and descending toward the sea. The fighters are relentless. Lieutenant Rojohn accelerates to close the gap in the formation, striving to restore its defensive integrity and get home. Without warning, another B-17, the 9 lives, positioned just beneath Rojohn's aircraft, takes a hit. Though still airborne, the pilot and co-pilot are incapacitated. Unbeknownst to Lieutenant Rojohn, with 9 at the controls, the 9 lives begins to drift upward. Inside the Little Skipper, a sickening crunch resonates as a powerful impact shakes the plane. Rojohn, disoriented and alarmed, exchanges a look with his co-pilot, Lieutenant William G. Leak. The aircraft feels heavy and begins to descend. Together, they fight to maintain control, realizing the unimaginable. They are now locked together in mid-air with another B-17. The aerial ballet of destruction had birthed an unimaginable tableau. 2 B-17 bombers, locked in a grotesque embrace. The 9 lives had rammed its upper fuselage into the belly of the Little Skipper, the lower plane's Top Gun turret, now embedded in the undercarriage of Rojohn's aircraft. The 2 bombers flew in eerie unison, a bizarre conjoined entity in the sky that of the lower plane skewed slightly to the left of Rojohn's tail. They were fused, as Bill Leak would later describe, like grotesque metal dragonflies, forever bound by fate. Amidst the chaos, 3 engines on the lower plane stubbornly roared to life, complementing the 4 still functioning on the upper aircraft. Yet, disaster compounded disaster. A fire erupted in the crippled engine, exacerbating the damage, and the crash had ravaged the hydraulics and electrical systems of the Little Skipper. The conjoined planes were now hemorrhaging altitude, spiraling towards the earth below. Rojohn strained against the controls, fighting in vain to dislodge the parasitic aircraft. Every maneuver, every desperate attempt to shake free, proved futile. The 2 planes were inseparable. Realizing the sheer impossibility of making it back to England, In such a precarious state, Rojohn made a gut-wrenching decision to turn back towards Germany. The prospect of bailing out over the frigid waters of the North Sea was a grim gamble, and their best, albeit desperate, hope lay in reaching the shoreline, offering the crew a slender chance of survival. But fate was far from forgiving. As the ravenous fire spread, consuming what was left of their chances, Rojohn made the agonizing choice to cut the little skipper's engines, plunging them into an eerie silence. In an astounding display of courage and skill, the pilot and co-pilot wrestled with the mangled controls, coaxing the conjoined behemoth around, directing it back towards the enemy shores. It was a symphony of desperation, played out against the backdrop of a fiery apocalypse. As the crippled behemoth limped towards the German coastline, it was impossible to go unnoticed. German anti-aircraft batteries, poised and vigilant, tracked the bizarre spectacle in the sky. The captain of one such battery meticulously recorded in his logbook. 2 fortresses, fused as one, were observed in formation to the northeast. The aircraft, conjoined in a manner defying imagination, maintained their unnatural union as they flew 20 miles southward. Incapable of further combat, their demise seemed inevitable. Consequently, we ceased fire upon these doomed planes. Inside the beleaguered little skipper, Lieutenant Rojohn was determined to give his crew the best possible chance of survival. Knowing that a controlled bailout was their only hope, he fought relentlessly to keep the plane level, battling against the odds with every ounce of strength and skill he possessed. One by one, he gave the order to bail out, entrusting his men to the mercy of their parachutes. In all, 6 men from the little skipper plunged into the unknown, praying for a safe descent. But amidst the chaos and desperation, a moment of extraordinary loyalty unfolded. Rojohn ordered Leek to bail out, but Leek knew that it took 2 men, working in perfect synchronicity, to keep the fused aircraft from spiraling out of control. To abandon Rojohn would be a death sentence. Defying a direct order, Lieutenant Leek refused to bail out. The 2 men, bound by duty and an unbreakable bond, resolved to see this impossible flight through to its bitter end.
All crew, bail out now. That's an order. Leek, bail out now.
I'm not leaving you behind.
A lone figure. Navigator Lieutenant Robert Washington, drifting beneath his parachute, bore witness to the nightmarish spectacle as the conjoined bombers hurtled toward the unforgiving Earth. The 2 planes, locked in their macabre dance, plummeted with terrifying speed, a testament to the brutal forces of gravity. Inside the little skipper, Rojohn and Leek braced for the inevitable. Seeing the ground rushing up to meet them, both men uttered silent prayers, seeking solace in their final moments. In a supreme act of defiance, they summoned every last ounce of strength, pulling back on the stick with Herculean force, striving to grant the doomed aircraft a fleeting moment of lift. They strained so hard against the controls that they had to brace their feet against the console for leverage. Nearing Tettensfield in northern Germany, the fused planes slammed into the earth with devastating impact. The 9 lives disintegrated upon contact, its shattered remains scattered across the landscape, while the little skipper, with its deadly passenger, careened forward, grinding along the ground in a shower of sparks and twisted metal. A wing sheared off, tearing through a wooden building, and the plane finally broke apart, scattering debris in all directions. Then, silence. Incredibly, amidst the carnage, the nose of the plane came to rest, and Rojohn and Leek, still strapped into their seats, found themselves alive. Dazed but unbroken, they emerged from the wreckage, only to be met by a German soldier, who promptly took them prisoner. Though not all the airmen were as fortunate that day in total, 6 crew members survived from the little skipper, and 4 bailed out and survived from the 9 lives. The fact that any survived at all was nothing short of a miracle. All survivors were captured by German forces, their ordeal far from over. For his extraordinary actions on that fateful New Year's Eve, Lieutenant Glenn Rojohn was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, a testament to his courage, leadership, and exceptional airmanship. Yet, in his characteristic humility, Rojohn always insisted that the honor was not his alone. He maintained that Lieutenant Bill Leek's selfless act of defiance, his refusal to abandon his commander in the face of certain death, was the true reason they survived. In Rojohn's eyes, Leek was the embodiment of unwavering loyalty and the epitome of the true hero. In the aftermath of the war, the paths of Rojohn and Leek diverged, and the two men lost contact, their lives scattering in different directions. But the bond forged in the crucible of combat could not be easily broken. In 1986, after decades of searching, Glenn Rojohn finally managed to track down Bill Leek, rekindling a friendship that had been put on hold by the passage of time. The following year, in 1987, a remarkable reunion took place in Long Beach, California. The surviving members of the Little Skipper and 9 Lives, together with Rojohn and Leek, were brought together once more at a reunion of the 100th Bomb Group. It was a poignant and emotional gathering, a chance for old comrades to share stories, remember fallen friends, and celebrate the bonds that had sustained them through the darkest of times. In the face of impossible odds, Lieutenant Glenn Rojohn and his crew turned a nightmare into a legend. Their courage, their sacrifice, it's stories like these that remind us of the price of history. But this is just one of countless untold tales from the skies of World War II. What other forgotten acts of heroism are waiting to be uncovered? Subscribe to FLYTOP and join us as we bring history back to life, one incredible story at a time.